important thing today is organizing your information. So here's a younger brother. So this is number 1, the younger brother, and this is the older brother. Okay. So obviously, it says a boy is 10 years older than his brother. So the older brother is 10 years older. So I have no idea what the younger brother is. So I'm just going to call him, I don't know, X. The older brother is whatever the younger brother is, plus 10. Okay? And that's their age right now. That makes sense, right? The older brother is 10 years older. In 4 years from now, well, the younger brother is going to still be younger, but he's going to be a little bit older. He's going to be X plus 4. And the older brother is also going to be a little bit older, 4 years older. So we're going to write X plus 10, whatever his age right now is. And to that, we're going to add 4. Thing is, I can simplify that and write X plus 14. Right, so that's the older in 4 years. That's their age. That's their current age. Now, we can set up the equation. And it says in 4 years, he will be twice as old as his brother. In 4 years, obviously the older brother, in 4 years, right, the older brother is going to be twice as old as the younger. And that's what I use to set up. That's my equation. That's in 4 years times, right? So that's the second part of the equation. So let's use their ages 4 years from now. The ages for the older brother 4 years from now is X plus 14. And the younger brother is 4 years from now is this age, right? So we're going to go 2 times X plus 1. From here on, not too much of a secret. Distributive property. Can I get rid of one of the variables? I can get rid of this guy, which means I'm going to have minus x on the other side, and I'm left with 14 equals x plus 8. Subtract 8 from each side, and x equals 6. So I know what x is. So I can go back to this table, and everywhere I see x, I can substitute. So his age now of the younger brother means that he is 6 years old. The older brother is 6 plus 10, which makes the older brother 16 years old. Just to double check, they said in the beginning of the problem that in 4 years, the older brother is going to be twice as old. Let's see if that's true. Well, in 4 years, the younger brother is going to be 6 plus 4, and he's going to be 10 years old in 4 years from now, right? The older brother is going to be, well, x plus 14. X is 6, right? So 6 plus 14. The older brother is 20. Look, just like the problem I said, in 4 years, the older brother is going to be twice as old as the younger brother. 2. We have a father and a son. The father is 4 times old as the son. Well, guys, I would avoid using the letter S as my variable, only because it looks like a 5. So right now, the father is 4 times as old as his son. Well, we're mentioning the father's age in relevance in terms of the son's age.
Please press interruption. This is
I have no idea what the son age is, so I'm going to call it, I know, Y. So I know that the father is 4 times Y. That's the situation right now. In 20 years from now, plus 20. 20 years from now, the father is going to be 4Y plus 20, and the son is going to be whatever his age is today, Y. I'm going to add. So in 20 years, they have a special relationship. In 20 years, the father, it says that the father will be 2 times as old as the son. That's what that relationship is in 20 years. So let's use their ages in 20 years. Well, in 20 years, the father is going to be 4y plus 20. And in 20 years, the son is going to be 2, and we're going to multiply 2 times his age 20 years from now, which would be y plus 20. And from here on, it's just the same thing. So 2y plus 40 is distributive property. We're going to subtract y. There's a variable on both sides, so I'm going to subtract 2y from each side. Minus 2y, minus 2y. And we're going to get 2y plus 20. These 2 y's go away. Plus 40. I need to put that plus 40. Sorry. Let me just write 40. Subtract 20 from each side, right? You can do that story if you still want the story. 20 goes away and I get 2y equals 20, and I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And and y equals 10. So now I know what y is. So if I go back to my table and take that information, the son is 10 years old. The father is 4 times 10, right? 4 times 10, which is 40. So right now, the son is 10 and the father is 40. 20 years from now, okay? So we can get 20 years from now, the father would be 4 times 10 plus 20, which in 20 years would mean that the father is going to be 60. That makes sense, right? The father's 40, 20 years from now, he's going to be 60. And the son will be, well, he's 10 now, in 20 years, plus 20, he's going to be 30. Is the father twice the age of his son 20 years from now? Look at that. There you go. 3. Pat is 20 years older than his son. So Pat is the mom or dad, and we call this James the son. Put that in parentheses. So Pat is 20 years older than his son James. Do we know what his age is? Oh, let's call his son J. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's call him A. That's his age. Okay. Pat is 20 years older, so it's going to be 20 plus whatever James is. Okay, so right now, that's what it is. In 2 years, so 2 years from now, plus 2, Pat's going to be obviously 20 plus A plus 2, right? He's going to be 2 years old and 22 years older, so that's going to be 22 plus A, right? We can combine those terms. And James, who is currently 8 years old, it's going to be A plus 2. But they also have another relationship. In 2 years, it says that Pat will be equals twice as old as James. That's what the sentence says. So Pat, 2 years from now, how old is Pat? 22 plus A. Equals 2 times James' son 2 years from now. What's 2 years from now? James is 8 plus 2. So again, you can see, you can sort of guess it's going to be repetitive, right? So organizing your data and understanding to then come up with the equation and substitute is, I think, the bulk of it. So this is 2a plus 4. We're going to subtract 1a from each side, right? We can get rid of that small one. That goes away. So this is 22. 2a minus a is just a plus 4. A one-step equation. Subtract 4 from each side. And a equals 18. So we know that a right now, James, is 18 years old. Pat is 20 plus 18, which makes her or him 38 years old. In 2 years, well, if Pat is 38 right now, in 2 years, if you substitute that in, we'll make Pat 40. James, who's 18 right now, in 2 years, he's going to be 20. Now look at what we had before. It said that Pat is twice as old as James. And look, in 2 years, that is exactly what's going to happen. You have Diane, and Diane is 23, so Diane, the mom, is 23 years older than Amy, the daughter. So, how old is the daughter? Well, let's call her X. So Diane is going to be 23 plus X. So, that's now in 6 years. 6 years, the daughter's going to be whatever her age is, plus 6. And Diane's going to be 23 plus X plus 6, which we can simplify to 29 plus X. And in 6 years, they have, again, that special relationship where Diane, the mom, is going to be twice as old as the daughter, Amy. Well, how old is Diane in 6 years? In 6 years, Diane is going to be 29 plus X. And Amy, in 6 years, how old is she? She's X plus 6. 29 plus X equals 2X plus 12. We're going to subtract X from each side, right? The lower, the smaller variable, smaller coefficient. X minus X is 0, that's 29, and this is X plus 12. Subtract 12 from both sides, right? I'm going to isolate my variable. And X is all alone by itself, and that makes 17. So, which means the daughter right now, she's 17 years old. Which means the mom, 23 plus 17, she is currently 40 years old. In 6 years, the mom's going to be 46 years old, right? And in 6 years, Amy is going to be 17 plus 6, she's going to be 23. Look, they're double each other. You'll get the hang of it as you do this. 5. Fred and Barney. Ooh, anybody watch? Oh, please let me know you know. Here's Fred. Here's Barney. So Fred is what? 4 years older than Barney. How old is Barney? Well, I don't know. So let's call B. So Fred is 4 plus whatever Barney is, B. 5 years ago. Okay, so this is 5 years ago. It's minus 5. 5 years ago, the sum of their ages was 48. So 5 years ago, well, let's find out. 5 years ago, Barney was B minus 5, right? And 5 years ago, Fred was 4 plus B minus 5. And that simplifies to negative 1 plus B. So that's their ages 5 years ago. So 5 years ago, their ages had a special relationship. And 5 years ago, what does it say? 5 years ago, the sum of their ages was 48. So 5 years ago, Fred plus Barney was 48. So 5 years ago. So we're going to use, let me shade this. We're going to use this guy and this guy. We're going to use their ages 5 years ago. 5 years ago, Fred was negative 1 plus B. And 5 years ago, Barney was B minus 5. And that equal to 48. Negative 1, negative 5 is negative 6. B plus B is just 2B. Equals 48. It's a two-step equation. I'll make the story here. I have a variable B which is multiplied by 2. Subtract 6. That gives me 48. What number did I start with? I'm going to add 6 to both sides, and then I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So that's my instruction. So let's add 6 here. Add 6 on this side. 6's go away. 2B comes down. 48 plus 6 is 54. Divide both sides by 2, and B equals 27. So Barney's 27 years old today. All right, 27. Which makes Fred, 4 plus 27, is going to be 31. 5 years ago, okay, Barney was 27 minus 5 was 22. And Fred, 5 years ago, was 27. No, 26. Right? 5 years ago, 31 minus 6 is, 31 minus 5 is 26. Now it says that 5 years ago, their sum of their ages was 48. Is that true? Well, 5 years ago, Fred was 26, and 5 years ago, Barney was 22. 26 plus 22 does indeed give me 48. So you can check your answer. Okay. 6, we have John and Martha. So it says here that John, right now, 4 times old as Martha. Well, Martha is n years old today, so John is whatever age, so 4 times n. 5 years ago, so this is again, we're going to the past, so 5 years ago, John was his age, 4m minus 5. And 5 years ago, Martha was obviously m minus 5. And 5 years ago. And then 5 years ago, the sum of their ages was 50. So 5 years ago, John plus Martha was 50. So let's use their ages 5 years ago. 5 years ago, John was 4m minus 5. Martha was m minus 5. And that equal to 50. Combine like terms, we got 5m, right? 4m plus m is 5m. Minus 5 and minus 5 is negative 10. Equals 50. Two-step equation. We're going to add 10 to both sides. 5m equals 60. Divide both sides by 5. And m equals 12. So again, we can go back here. So Martha right now is 12 years old. John is 4 times that. 4 times 12. That makes him 48. 5 years ago, guys, Martha was obviously 7 years old. And 5 years ago, John was 42. No, 5 years ago, John was 42. 48 and 5. And 5 years ago, the sum of their ages was 50. 43 plus 7 is 50. So look at that. It works out. Tim. Tim is 5 years older than Joanne. So again, we're talking about Tim in terms of Joanne. Right? So whatever Joanne is, Tim is 5 years older. So let's call Joanne. Okay, let's keep it as X. And Tim is her age plus 5. That's right now. 6 years from now, so it's in the future, plus 6. Joanne is x plus 6. And Tim is x plus 5 plus 6, which is going to give me x plus 11. And in 6 years from now, it says that Tim plus Joanne equals 79. So we're going to use their ages 6 years from now. 6 years from now, their sum of their ages is 79. So Tim is x plus 11. Joanne is x plus 6. And that's going to give me 79. Like terms, 2x plus 17 equals 79. Subtract 17 from both sides. 2x equals 62. Divide both sides by 2, and that gives me x equals 31. So it tells me that Joanne currently, she's 31. Which makes Tim 31 plus 5, 36. In 6 years, obviously if I substitute here, it's going to give me 47. And in 6 years, this is going to be what did I do wrong here? That's 11, 6, 31. Something else. Sorry. 6 years is 42. That's my mistake. Sorry. So it's 42, and this is going to be 37. So in 6 years, when I add these two, will it give me 79? It does give me 79. Okay. So Tim is 36 right now. In 6 years, he's going to be 42. Joanne is 31 right now. 6 years, she's going to be 37. Right? So it's just substitute there. 8. Jack is twice as old as Lacey. So we have Jack and Lacey. So we talk about Jack in terms of Lacey. Do we know how old Lacey is? No. So we'll call her Y. And Jack is twice as old as her, so we call Jack 2Y. That's the now. In 3 years, so plus 3 years from now, Jack is going to be 2Y plus 3. And Lacey is going to be Y plus 3 years old. What else do we know? We know that in 3 years, the sum of their ages, so in 3 years, Jack plus Lacey is going to be 54. Let's talk about Jack. Jack is going to be 2y plus 3 in 3 years, so we're going to use this, right? This 3 years. And Lacey in 3 years is going to be y plus 3. That should give you 54. Combine like terms, the y's gives me 3y, 3 plus 3 is 6, equals 54. Let's do, so again, we have a variable y, which is multiplied by 3, we add 6, that gives me 54. Going back, I'm going to subtract 6 and divide both sides by 3. So minus 6 minus 6, 54 minus 6 is 48, that goes away, 3y, divide both sides by 3, and y equals 16. So Lacey right now is 16 years old, so y equals 16. Jack is twice that, or 2 times 16, and that's 32. So in 3 years, Jack is going to be obviously 35 years old, and Lacey, who's 16 right now, plus 3 is going to be 19. If you add 35 plus 19, you get 54. Yeah, so that's the sum of their ages 3 years from now is 54. That makes sense. John and Mary. So we have John and Mary. I know that their ages right now added up is 32. So think about that. So it doesn't matter who you call X. So I know that John plus Mary is 32 right now. So if we say that Mary is this years old, X years old, John has to be 32 minus, if you take away Mary's age, you get John's age, because it says that John plus Mary equals 32. That's what we know right now. So one of them is X, the other one's going to be 32 minus X. So it didn't matter who you did. So if you call John X and Mary 32 minus X, it didn't matter. 4 years ago, so that's now right now. That's now. 4 years ago, Mary was x minus 4. 4 years ago, John was 32 minus x minus 4, which we can combine like terms and we get 28 minus x. So that's t minus 4. So we also know that 4 years ago, John was twice as old as Mary, 2 times Mary. So we're going to use their ages 4 years ago. And that's what we're going to use. So John 4 years ago was 28 minus x. Mary was 2 times, so it's 2 times Mary 4 years ago was x minus 4. 28 minus x equals 2x minus 8. Let's read it properly. Let's get rid of the one of the variables. Plus x here, right? So that goes away. 28 equals 3x minus 8. Add 8 to both sides, right? That goes away. And 3x equals 28 plus 8 equals 36. Divide both sides by 3. And we get that x equals 12. So, we go over here. Mary is 12 years old. And John is going to be, well, their ages add up to 32. So John is 32 minus 12, which means John is 20. 4 years ago, John was 16. And 4 years ago, Mary was 8. And look at that. John is twice as old as Mary. 10. The sum of the ages of a father. So we have a father and son. So I know that if I add their 2 ages together, it gives me 56. Right? So whatever their ages are, 1 age plus the other 56. So if the son is x years old, the father has to be 56 minus x. That makes sense, right? You take away the son's age and you get the father's age. That's now, but 4 years ago, the son was his age minus 4, and 4 years ago the dad was 56 minus x, right, his current age, and we're going to take away 4, which means he was actually 52 minus x years old 4 years ago. Now 4 years ago they had another special relationship which said that 4 years ago the father was 3 times the age of the son. Well, that's 4 years ago, so let's use that. So the father 4 years ago, he was 52 minus x, and 3 times the son's age 4 years ago, which is x minus 4. 52 minus x, just read it properly, you get 3x minus 12. Let's get rid of one of the variables, the smaller one. So we do plus x, right, inverse, plus x over here. The x's go away on the left side, so we have 52 equals 4x minus 12. Two-step equation again. So we're going to isolate the variable by adding 12 to both sides first. That gives me 4x equals 64. Divide both sides by 4. And x equals, I believe, 16. So x equals 16. I can go back here and say, well, the son is 16. So we knew that the ages of the son and the father plus one plus each other equals 56. So if the son is 16, it means that the father is 56 minus 16, which gives you 40. Right? Makes sense. 4 years ago, the father was 36 years old. And the son, 4 years ago, was 12 years old. And look at the relationship that we were given, that the father 4 years ago was 3 times the son. Look. Yep, 3 times the son. Last one. The sum of the ages of a china plate and a glass plate. So we have a china plate. Those are really expensive. And a glass plate. For those of you who collect plates. So I know that they're plates added together, right? So the collectibles is 16. This is no different than the previous question. Instead of using father and son, we use plates. So let's call the glass plate x. Doesn't matter who you call x. So if the glass plate is x, the china plate, obviously, it's going to be 16 minus x. Right? It's going to be the opposite. It's not opposite, the difference. Right? So 4 years ago, minus 4. So 4 years ago, 4 years ago, that glass plate was x minus 4 years old, and the china plate was 16 minus x minus 4. My mom has a set, never use it. 16 minus 4 is 12. Let's combine that, and let's just, so again, we can, 4 years ago, the China plate was 12 minus x, and the glass plate was x minus 4. And 4 years ago, did they have a special relationship? I'm going to look at the question. 4 years ago, it says that the China plate was 3 times the age of the glass plate. So 4 years ago, China plate was 12 minus x, and the glass plate was x minus 4, so 3 times x minus 4. 12 minus x equals 3x minus 12. Get rid of the variable, the smaller one. Plus x, these two go away. 12 equals 4x minus 12. Add 12 to both sides, and you get 4x equals 24. Divide both sides by 4. Oops. X equals 6. So, that's how old the glass plate is. X equals 6, which means the China plate is 16 minus x minus 6, which gives us 10. 4 years ago, the China plate was 6 years old, and the glass plate was 2 years old. And look at the relationship. One was 3 years older than the other. 3 times as much as the other. And they are. So it just takes a little bit of getting used to it, but it's one of those that maybe you need just to work out a few more problems and you get the hang of it.